Jon, how are you?
What's up, Ariel?
It's good to see you, my man.
Oh, man.
Thank you for having us here. First time I was ever in Albuquerque, sitting in front of you. It was 2011. Do you remember when that was?
Or was that when we took that walk?
No, it was way before that. It was February of 2011. You had just beat Ryan Bader, and you were about to fight for the belt.
Nice.
9 years ago. Almost exactly 9 years to the day.
Wow.
This new gym, and you're about to defend the title once again. I'm just curious, who was that guy 9 years ago? And what's the difference between that guy and this guy now at 32?
No, man, well, I've learned a lot. Constantly growing, evolving as a father, as an athlete. I just feel great.
As a father, as an athlete, I was thinking about it. I don't know that ever in a natural state have I listed my identities. Like, I've never been like, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a student. Let's see if he does it again later.
Yeah, I've always had a very strong conviction that I could be the greatest ever. And sure enough, it's just years of belief and hard work. We're here. And yeah, I think my best days are definitely still ahead of me. I feel like I'm just now really getting to a nice groove of what it means to be a father and a professional athlete and a person with great responsibility. And I'm excited.
Again, identities. Father, professional athlete, some other third thing. I have never listed my identities like this. What is that?
I feel like these days I just take more accountability for my actions and for my, my emotions and my circle and behaviors and things like that. And I think that's been the major difference. Just more accountability.
And I remember talking.
I noticed sometimes he has a really hard time getting words out, kind of tripping over his words, slurring a little bit, almost kind of on the quiet side.
All that other stuff will be forgotten. You were like 10 years. That's a very long time. You remember that?
Yeah.
I can't promise.
Yeah, no.
Do you still feel the same way?
Yeah, you can never promise anything in life. You never know. You just never know what twists and turns life is going to throw at you. But I do feel like I'm on a great track, and I'm excited.
That's something I kind of say is like demon end is I'm like surprised by the outcomes of what happened. You never know what life is going to throw at you. But it doesn't really prove anything.
And just be the best person that I can be and try to help as many people as I can help. And yeah, I've never been more excited for my future.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really excited for my future. I see nothing but great things coming in my future. Yeah, in the present.
So you're at peace with that?
Yeah, 100%. I can't allow my past to hold weight over me. You gotta forgive yourself for mishaps in life, and you gotta move forward. You can't hold yourself in prisons, and you can't allow anybody else to hold yourself in prisons. If people are talking about things I did 5 years ago, that means I'm doing something right.
Right.
I noticed he's starting to talk in a little bit of analogies. You can't hold yourself in prisons. Let's see if he kind of does that some more.
When we spoke in November of 2018, you told me that the previous summer you checked into a trauma rehab center.
Yes.
You were dealing with the loss of your mother and also getting stripped and all that. And you actually told me that you were planning on doing it every summer. You were going to check in. Did you do it last summer?
No, I didn't.
How come?
Just because I feel like I took a lot out of going into a trauma therapy center. I felt like I took a lot out of it. I still carry the lessons that I've learned, lots of lessons that I've learned, and I didn't really feel a need. I feel great. I feel great.
So you needed to go to rehab, and you said you were going to go again. Why didn't you? Well, I checked myself, and I decided that I'm good and I don't need to go. Did you ask anyone else? No.
Especially Thiago Santos. I mean, he has a hell of a record. Great character, right? Christian guy, single dad, former military, gives back to his community. I mean, he would have made a tremendous champion.
4 identities, listed 4 identities right there.
Are you trying hard to not be in the wrong place, to try to avoid situations like that? Because you're probably one of the most famous people living in Albuquerque, right?
Yeah.
If not the most famous.
Oh, Holly's definitely the most famous
Fair
person
enough.
here.
Fair
Not
enough.
many people look like her.
Right.
She's a goddess, man. I love that girl.
Holly Holm is another UFC fighter, but he called her a goddess. That's a violation. You can't call a girl a goddess unless she's your wife. Violation, Jon Jones.
one might say you're the Kobe Bryant of MMA, right? At least in your time, and then to hear about his daughter and those other young girls on that helicopter, how did you handle that?
Yeah, it was shocking. It was shocking and so disappointing. I learned so much from it. I learned to be more appreciative for life. It made me, want to just hug my daughters closer. Yeah, it was just so sad, man. Just gone too soon. Kobe Bryant, I feel like the legacy that he was getting started outside of basketball was just so much bigger than what he did in basketball. He had foundations everywhere. So I feel like he's in a better place, and I feel a personal obligation to pick up where he left off, and just try to be as great as I can be in the cage and for humanity. And that's what I took from Kobe's situation.
So Jon Jones, what did you think about Kobe Bryant's death? Well, that's all very sad. Anyways, me, and I need to be the best fighter in the ring. Like, what? D.I. Me show? What is this?
Kobe said, find something you love and do your absolute best at it. Give it everything you got. And I'm truly blessed to know what I love, and I feel like I was born to be a fighter. I genuinely love what I do, and the inspiration that you get out of the situation is just to give it everything you got every day. You owe it to Kobe. You owe it to the people who are maybe handicapped and who can't do it. You owe it to the world to show them how great they can be by me just trying to be the best that I can be.
So this is really good. When I heard this, I was like, oh, I think this might be an IP. Because this quote, you owe it to the world to show them how great they can be by me just trying to be the best that I can be. I think what he's kind of saying here is the way I can give back to people is by building myself up and showing them how great they can be. He says by being the best that I can be. So he's saying, I need to get up here, and then that's the way I can give back to the people. This is just one instance of him saying this, so I would need to see him say this. He kind of said it a little before, but you would need to look for this. Is he saying this again and again? And this is the exact same thing that Chris Evans said, INFP guy. He's like, yeah, I just got to build myself up and show, everybody how great I can be, and then that will inspire them. This is like the IP song, is I'll just build myself up and I'll inspire everyone. And I really want to give back, but that's the only way I know how to give back is by building myself up to inspire the little people down here.
It's amazing for a guy who I believe was a janitor, right? And you got into this because you needed to get some money for diapers, right?
Yeah, I was applying. I was a bouncer, actually, making $50 a night, and I was applying to be a janitor because I would have benefits.
Wow.
And right when I was waiting to get the call back, someone wrote me on Twitter, a guy named Gary, a kid that I never met, and he said, hey, my cousin owns an MMA gym in Cortland, New York, which is about 45 minutes away. I didn't have a car.
Wow, and how old were you?
I was about 19.
Wow.
Yeah, man. It was crazy, man. It was like one of the best years of my life, man, because I went from a very average thinking person, like just an average 19-year-old, to getting. I don't like reading, so I literally got on all these TED Talks and on YouTube, and I just started YouTubing videos about self-belief and what does it mean to be confident, and what does it mean to be a winner? How do you become a winner? And I would watch hours and hours of Tony Robbins and Les Brown and TED Talks, and I taught myself how to believe in myself and how to think that I was greater than just this kid that was a dropout who, never really had great grades, never really was the starter, never was the captain of a team. I was just always kind of this average person, and overnight I taught myself that I could be great and change myself forever.
So in this, he's kind of talking about he went and learned how to boost his confidence, how to build his identity, kind of. But you have to look at the context. When is he looking how to build his identity? someone who's an EJ, like Erwin McManus, he's like 50s and 60s, he's still kind of like, well, what about the identity? When is Jon Jones learning about identity? Oh, 19 years old? That might be a sign that he's responsible for learning about the identity. That's what he's doing first.
I'm forever grateful. I'm never going back.
Wow. Did you have low self-confidence?
I didn't have low self-confidence, no.
Did you have low self-confidence before you started listening to Tony Robbins? And Tony Robbins is an EJ, and he preaches about his demons, which are DI. So he was learning about, just more DI stuff. But he's like, no, I was already confident. I just needed to be even more confident.
But I needed to have extraordinary confidence to do what I was getting ready to be doing.
Would that kid have believed that all this would have happened?
I don't think he knew that he was changing my life by giving me an idea.
Well, keep flying, my man.
Hey, thank you.
I wish you the
and
best.
Never come down, Jesse Owens, right?
That's right. Good luck.
Sorry about the sweaty hands.
No, me too. Both of us. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
We're both nervous.
The first thing we can notice when we look at Jon Jones is that he's very tall and lanky. But
okay, so I know this was not presented in the class, but when I was watching interviews of Jon Jones, I was like, this guy is so mopey and sleepy and talking slow. Like, I literally cannot imagine him in the ring. So I needed to go get the sensory of that.
he looks at patterns of behavior you've refined his techniques, figures out why you use that technique, and tries to use it against you through his unique anatomy.
I study everybody extensively, and then I come up with their patterns. I figure out the way they flinch. I figure out their first favorite punch, their second favorite punch, their third, their favorite combinations, their setups to their takedowns. When they flinch, what side their head's going to be on. Literally everything. I know everything about every opponent. What side they're going to shoot, whether it's going to be a head inside, head outside. What am I going to do about that, I figure out everything. Why they shoot, what area of the cage they like to shoot. Everything.
So he watches hours and hours of his opponents. He goes and gathers the patterns. I'm guessing he consumes, using some sort of consume function, OE and DI to consume that stuff, and then he's coming up with the N patterns here.
Walk us through your crime fighting experience from earlier today.
Oh, here we go, guys. Put your seatbelts on. All right, so this is what happened. I was hanging out at my bat cave on, right? And
I don't know what he's talking about. But here we can see him, like, if you think about the coffee shop graph, where it's like someone's in a savior happy state and then back to baseline, and then someone's kind of like in a sad state. I think in a lot of his interviews, he's kind of like baseline, but then here I think it's a little bit spiking, so let's see what he's talking about.
one of my co-managers, his name is Glenn, and he has a family that lives here in the New Jersey area. So before my fights, I like to find a really beautiful site, whether it's the top of a mountain, next to a stream, anything gorgeous, nature-wise. I like to, associate nature with different levels of energy and all this. But anyways, it's a different topic.
Energy, levels of energy, a little NF there.
He's like, well, I'm just letting you know, a lot of people get mugged here. Just as he said that, I turned to pull off my seatbelt, and the guy, I see an old Spanish couple, like, screaming, and they're, like, running. They look like they're out of breath big time. And I'm like, dude, they just got mugged. And he's like, no. And I'm like, maybe not, I'm tripping. You just put that in my mind. So Mike Winkeljohn hops out of the car, and he's like, you guys okay? And then she's like, the guy he just broke my window open, and he took all my stuff, and he's running. And so I'm like, what? So Mike Winkeljohn, without hesitation, he just starts running, right? And I'm like, holy crap. And then Greg Jackson, he just starts running, and they both start running. So I'm like, what is happening right now? So next thing you know, I have like sweatpants on, I have an iPod and my Droid X, my wallet. I'm like, where am I? What's going on? So I'm like, okay, it's time for me to take action. So I take my hands in my pockets, I throw my stuff on the floor, and I tell our driver, I'm like, dude, take care of my stuff. And I throw it on the floor, and I just start running, right? And I got these gazelle legs, so I'm running, right? And I'm running, and next thing you know, I catch up to my coaches, and I'm jogging, and there's a sprinting, right? I'm like, so what are we doing? We're gonna catch this guy? And he's like,
Jon Jones had no plan.
He's like, John, you get back. He's like trying to swim move me, like, get over. He's like, get back. You don't need to be involved with this, right? And I'm like, nah, Coach, God, trust me, man, I'll be okay. So then I put the Jets on, I went TOM. So I put the Jets on, and I catch up to the guy, I'm like, how you doing? Think you're gonna no, I'm joking. I'm joking. So anyways, the guy, like, I'm like closing in on this guy. I'm like 20 yards away. And the guy's like, you can see that he's starting to get winded. So he's like, he got this stuff and he's running. And he looks back and he usually sees me, 6'4". You got Greg and Wink like behind us. Yeah, Greg and Wink's behind me and I'm just running like, I'm gonna catch you, right?
I was thinking about this. Imagine being that mugger. Like, you go to mug somebody and then suddenly you have 3 UFC fighters running after you. Worst day of his life. Bad day to be that mugger.
So the guy looks back, and then he trips over his own foot. And so at the time he tripped over his own foot, I got so scared because I didn't know what I was going to do when I actually caught him. So I actually started barking like, I'm going to get you, like, So the guy's like, he looks back like, oh crap, but he's trying to stand up. And when he was standing up, I approached him when he's like in a, in your March Cassette go type of stance, was like trying to get his momentum back. And one of his behind feet, I just came up with my foot and like scooped it out from under him with my feet. So as I'm sitting on this guy's leg, catching my breath a little bit because we're sprinting uphill, I realized that I'm in like this Spanish neighborhood, and like all these people are coming out of their houses yelling Spanish across the street. I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. Like, what is happening? Like, Greg's yelling like in Spanish to people, and then a guy walked up to us, and he's like, yo man, that could have been my mama's car. And once he said that, I was like, yes, they're on our side. Like, I'm like, yeah.
The people are on our side. It's okay, guys.
Well, that could have been his mama's car. And so we hold them.
He's all giddy and happy. Is that, an SE thing? I did this really cool SE. Is that because the people are just loving him right now?
And the part that he's leaving out, his brother told me back in the dressing room that after they caught the guy, he was going, you know what? People work really hard for their stuff, and you stole it, and you shouldn't do that. You should choose a different path in life. He's over there preaching to the guy.
Yeah, he actually said his dad was a preacher, so I find it quite funny that he was, harping on this guy. But I think the way that he talks, he was kind of bringing us along. And I was watching some more IP videos, and something that Ops kind of talks about is like the consume will try to take you along in the story. And then it sounds like he was doing a little blaster lesson on the mugger there.
That was your sister, and you just broke her car windows. Like, would you like it if someone did that to you? Like, Greg Jackson's like, you puto manico, like all these things. So, where most people start their first classes with, 1, 2, hook. I started my first classes like watching YouTube, and then I would come home and like, let me just try this spinning thing, and it's the only way I know. I really don't look at it as being dangerous or being flashy at all. I call it more like unpredictable.
That's kind of what the guy analyzing his moves talked about, is like, it kind of sounds like Jon taught himself some of this MMA stuff, and then it kind of feels like his strength in fighting might be that he actually doesn't rely on the sensory stuff. Like, he's not like, oh yeah, I just got my, I can rely on my sensory like muscles and being in the moment. Like, what he's kind of relying on that he might have over his opponents is the reliance on the N. So what are your patterns? You really knowing those patterns, maybe masculine and...
I need to relax just for a little while and, work on being a better man, a better champion, a better martial artist, and come back even better. But to rush back into it.
The identities. 3 identities again. So this is Jon Jones, one of his arrests. I think he has like 3 or 4 arrest videos, or at least like police body cam videos. So I'm interested to see, because when I watched this, I couldn't really tell what I was supposed to be looking for, so I really want to try to pay attention to his words, because this is going to be kind of a panicked state. So what is he automatically going to? What kind of language is he using?
I didn't drag race driver's license, registration, and insurance, please. I did not drag race a Cadillac. I watched you do it right there on Broadway. No, you did not, sir. Any reason? No, you
Very argumentative. No, I did not, sir.
I did not drag race a Cadillac. Okay, any reason, sir? Any reason for what? For the way you're driving. The way you took off there at Broadway after you revved your engine. After you rev your engine. I didn't say drag wife.
Yeah, you said drag race.
That's right.
Absolutely, and I did not.
Okay. So you just felt it necessary to take off at a high rate of speed?
I did not break the speeding limit at all, and I
didn't say you broke the
I
speed
did
limit.
not take off at a high speed.
What's the speed limit there on Central?
I don't know, but I know I was
Then how do you know that you didn't break it?
He said, no, I did not. But I don't know the speed limit. I don't know the actual sensory, but I know I didn't do that.
Where's your other registration? This is the dealership registration that came with your temp tag.
This is so funny to me, just the disorganized sensory. Maybe this.
Okay, find your registration for me. Why is your car so loud?
Man, you're just harassing me, man.
I'm just asking you a simple question,
My car
Jonathan.
is loud because it's a sports car.
Okay. Sit tight, I'll be with you in a minute. Cut the attitude.
Yeah, the cop is not exactly being super nice here either, but John's also not being nice.
Did you have something you wanted to say, Mr. Jones?
Yes, absolutely. You and I both know that I was not drag racing.
No, sir, I actually know that you were drag racing.
Okay,
I watched you do it.
Okay, let me talk, right?
Okay.
Do I have that right?
Mr. Jones, we're not having court out here.
Do I have that
You
right
have
to
a court
talk?
date, and you
Do
can.
I have that right to talk?
You do have that right to talk,
Okay,
and you can
so
tell
give me
us
my
in
right
court.
and let me talk. Okay?
Go ahead, tell me what you're going to tell.
No.
Don't tell me what I know. You're going to testify to what I know?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to testify to what you know.
I know that you were drag racing, and I will testify to that.
That I was not drag racing.
Actually, I do know that you were drag racing.
Both know that.
We both know. Not feelings in a savior state? I don't know, he's talking a lot about kind of the tea here, I guess.
Not speed. You and I both know that I freaking revved my engine at the red light, and I never took off racing at all. Nor was the car next to me ever took off racing. I just simply revved my engine.
You took off at a high rate of speed, sir.
No, I did
Only
not.
you kept going. You
no,
slowed
I
down.
did not.
Okay.
You are an absolute fucking liar.
Well, we can talk about it in court. I need you to sign inside this box.
You are a liar. What is that, a decider thing? What the heck? Accusing someone and assigning them an identity?
I'm going to call my lawyer to ask him about this paperwork.
Okay.
I'm sure I have the right to do that, buddy. Fucking liar. Can't believe you.
Well, believe it, because I'm not joking.
For no reason. Fucking with me for no reason. What's your name?
Officer Brown. It's
no reason. He actually says that in, I think, like 2 other videos that I didn't put on my list, but he says, no reason.
Ticket, sir.
Can't fucking believe you. You're ridiculous.
You're ridiculous.
Just doing my job.
No, you're not doing your job. You're fucking picking this fucking Corvette out for no reason.
No
You're
reason.
blaming me for all this shit that you know isn't true. You're ridiculous.
It is not no reason, sir.
I used to really respect police fuckers like you.
Please don't dig around in your car.
I was looking for a pen. Give me the fucking shit.
He's gotta fire his lawyer. His lawyer didn't pick up at the time he needed him the most.
How do you sleep with yourself?
Mostly on my left side, sometimes on my back.
Harassing me like this. Oh,
Harassing me.
Get out of my face. You're despicable.
I feel the same way about you, sir.
Hey, disgust me.
Once again, feelings mutual.
And then he revs his engine as he drives off. Yeah, I just think he was being kind of a jerk in that video. I know it's a stressful moment, but you can be more polite. So as far as what that points to in his language, he's also just very accusatory to the cop. You're a liar. You're harassing me.
And a guy with a serious history, with a lot of experience under his belt, give us your thoughts on this upcoming title fight for you.
I feel like I know what I'm getting into with Quentin. I've been watching his 40-something fights every day. I mean, his DVD is in my laptop constantly, and while he's playing video games, I'm watching him. So hopefully I can show that I don't get hit a lot for a reason, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Did he say 40 fights? He's been watching 40 fights every day. That's kind of the consume that I think his method is let me take in these patterns for myself. That's a lot, 40 fights and watching all that. Meanwhile, his competitors, I don't know that they're doing that. They might be getting, their coaches might be doing more of that type of consume, and they get their advice from the coaches, and then they're like, yeah, I'll show up with my muscles and take this guy out. But Jon is really responsible for the consume, responsible for taking in the patterns. I don't know if that's patterns or sensory or both. This could be, if he is lead DI, that could be S and N in the middle. So SE taking in the NI patterns, or how could this be SI? SI tracking the patterns for the NE possibilities. My bias is wanting me to go SE just because it's like UFC. And when you have something physical like this, it's kind of tracking the external sensory and can kind of be a real expert in that realm. So my bias is wanting me to go SE and then NI.
Now, Jon Jones, how do you respond to Quentin's accusations? He believes there's a spy in his camp, and that spy talks directly to your camp.
I think it was a tactic of his to try to get in my head, which it worked. But you know what, Rampage? You did it way too soon. You should have did it fight week, because now it just shows more of your character and your paranoia. How do I sound guilty? I mean, who do you train with that I know? I mean, how possibly? How does it give me any advantage to call? I'm gonna tell you how. I focus on me. I focus on me. I focus on my skill set. I focus on what I need to do in order to be the best Jon Jones.
What your manager said.
I focus on what I need to do to be my best.
Check what your manager said, homie. I'm gonna tell you how it's suspicious. Check what your manager said. He said that he read it on Twitter, but he heard that I'm sparring with one of your old sparring partners. That wasn't on Twitter. How he heard that? How he read something on Twitter, then heard that who I was sparring with? That just showed that your ignorance from your camp. And if you pay attention to the interviews, I never said that.
I'm going to ask you one more question. He's starting with you, Quentin. We are 1 week away, September 24th in Denver, Colorado. When all is said and done, the fight is over. Tell me what's going to happen.
I'm going to blow him out the water. I'm going to destroy Jon Jones on the 24th.
Jon Jones, I'm going to ask you the same question. When all is said and done, September 24th, after that fight, how does it go down?
The only thing I can promise my fans is that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try my hardest to have fun and play the game that I love.
We are 1 week away.
My fans, I'm going to try my hardest. I don't really know. I think this clip might have been included in the class to look for feminine DE versus masculine DE, like the DE, DI sexuals. This guy seems more like bark, 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 kind of aggressive, I guess. And then Jon is just kind of like, yeah, well, whatever, kind of his soft-spoken mode.
Gentlemen, thank you very much, and good luck next week.
You're getting destroyed, homie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Joe.
Trust me on that. Yeah, you're getting destroyed, homie.
Joe's face. He's like, you're getting destroyed. And Jon is like, thank you, Joe Rogan. Thank you for the interview. So at first, like, this is one of the first ones I watched, and I was kind of like, oh, maybe this is, this could be a masculine DI and then feminine DE, so it's kind of the cat energy of like, oh yeah, you can push me, you can push me, you can push me, but then at some point I'm gonna, like, punch out at you. Could be something like that.
Can you hear that, Jon?
You got your ass whipped today, buddy.
No, I didn't. You're pussy.
Oh, yeah, you did it. I had you on
You're
your back.
such a little...
Oh,
my God.
I had you on your back. You suck, bro.
You're such a little...
Yo, so weak. I'm glad to know that.
You're tiny. I'm like, this dude sucks.
Everybody say you're so...
I think if you're an MMA fighter, the worst insult you can hear is you're tiny and weak.
Oh, you're weak.
Okay.
You're a little fat...
You're... Jon,
oh my God, you're so weak.
You fucking junior college dropout.
Oh, so,
you junior college dropout.
Yeah, that's why I have $10 million in the bank.
You junior college dropout. You're still an idiot.
I'm a junior college knock. I'm a junior college
You're
dropout.
Still an idiot. You're still an idiot.
I'm a junior college
You're
dropout.
Still an idiot.
I'm a junior college.
You're still an idiot. You're still... I don't care how much money you got. You are...
Dang, I think the junior college dropout remarks were kind of getting to him, but I think this might be Blast Last. He just has a really hard time talking sometimes, just literally cannot get the words out. That could be Blast, that could be visual, that could be high N. I don't know, I just keep seeing he trips over his words a lot. The comment said, the only thing that DC beat Jon in is saying you're a junior college dropout.
Idiot. Yes, I'm sitting on 10 mil, baby. What you sitting on? Hey, are you still there? I'm here.
Violation, DC. Jon goes, hey, pussy, are you still there? DC goes, yeah, I'm here. Thereby admitting that he's a pussy. DC, get it together.
Hey, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah. I'm here. You are just the fakest person. I actually admire that you can actually be this fake. You're the fucking scum of the earth. You are a terrible human being, but you can sure turn it on, huh?
Thank you.
You're a terrible human being. Thank you.
God, you fucking suck.
I'm not saying I will fight you. I said I will kill you.
John, do you think? John, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John? I mean, really?
This trash talk cracks me up. You think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me? Really?
No matter how tall I am. It does not matter how tall I am.
So this is from the Joe Rogan interview with Jon Jones. I don't think they used it in the class, but it was pretty good. And there was one in particular line that I thought was good.
Do you write things down? Do you write like goals down or things that you demand of yourself? Do you ever do that?
I do. I have a list in my phone of different ways of thinking that I want to stand for.
Different things you're thankful for?
No, different ways of thinking that I.
Oh, different ways of thinking?
Yeah, that I want to stand for. Yeah, I do.
Like how so?
Just little things that help me be patient and to be loving and to appreciate.
So it kind of felt like I'm writing down what I TI stand for, my TI ways of thinking that I stand for, which is the FE, the love and empathy. I was a little bit confused by that. I was like, what do you mean? And then I think he's not, is this guy Blast play in the top 3? I don't think so, kind of mopey. So Blast being lower doesn't help. But TIFE, this could be, if he is an IP, build myself up IP, then this could be lead TI, and then demon FE.
Jon Jones?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah, you don't care as much. You put out things that you wanted to put out like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
You speak in a way you want to put out. This is who you are. Take it or leave it.
I sure hope so. Yeah, I sure hope so.
You feel comfortable with who you are?
I do feel comfortable with my skin. Yeah, I do.
You feel comfortable with how the people perceive you?
I'm not comfortable with the way people perceive me, but.
Oh my God, I'm sick of it. My identity, how people perceive me. I'm sick of talking about this. Why are we still talking about the people?
A part of me surrendered to it and just realized that it comes with the territory of being one of the all-time elites in my sport. People say things like, and I'm not saying that I'm in the same category as Jesus because I'm not even close, but I'm saying even Jesus was crucified and criticized and ridiculed. So it's like, you look at guys like LeBron James who just built a school for young people and he's still hated by many people. It's like,
I know they use this interview in the class, so I really want to try to get through it, but it's really driving me crazy. It's just like, these are the people and my idols and this guy, but my identity. It's like, I think I'm going to guess a decider. Like, I believe you. Actually, let's go to guessing. I'm just seeing the DI over anything. It's like when he's getting into trouble, the kind of tidal waves in his life, like getting arrested and, DWI and all these, he got suspended because of taking drugs. It's like, where are these things coming from? I think it could be the DI. He's kind of like, well, I have to do what I want to do. And eventually the tribe is going to hate me, but I'll just deal with that later. It'll be the worst time of my life, but I have to do what I have to do. It kind of seems like that's his go-to. So I'm going to guess DI on this one. I don't think he has Blast and Play in the top 3. He's just not that extroverted. I think that he does get into a lot of trouble in the outside world, kind of like running around and drinking and partying and stuff like that. Yeah, I just don't think he has blast and play in the top 3. I think that he's blast last. Could this be consume last? I don't think so. I see that he's consuming a lot. And when someone is consume last, you have to look at, are they blasting over anything else? Is he teaching lessons in a savior state? No. And he has a really hard time talking, which again could be something to do with the modalities, like visual. It could be N. As far as play last, he's able to kind of go back and forth with people. He's not allergic to playing. He's not like, let me write a book and then run away. Let me avoid people. And he's kind of getting into trouble. I don't really think it's play last. But is he this extroverted? Is he a blaster? Like, this is the one, when I was first watching him, I wanted to just take this column out completely. He's not a blaster. It's just not blaster lessons. At first, I was kind of guessing here, like, oh, maybe this is a TISE. And then I kept seeing that he was going to analogies. Yeah, and some stuff in the Joe Rogan interview, too, I actually didn't know. He was doing, like, an analogy, and I didn't know what he was talking about until I rewatched it. So I keep seeing that he's going to analogies, so I think with his speech, I think this might be N over S, and also when you take into account that he's he's relying on his known patterns for fighting and his intuition, I think that's a big point for N. But it could be that he's SE or, SI and then just activated on the N. But I'm kind of leaning towards the N just because he keeps going back to analogies. I'm seeing, like, more so than I would be doing, more so than, someone like Kit Pfeiffer lead S.
I mean, look at Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier's a stand-up guy, right? He does a lot of things right, and people tell me all the time how much they hate him. I just don't get it, right? So there's something that comes with when you have a certain amount of greatness where you'll never quite be loved by everybody, and you have to be comfortable in that space.
It takes a while to accept that, right?
It does. It takes a while to accept that, but you got to learn to be grateful for it, too, because you're relevant. Reevaluate a lot of things, like what I think about the sport and what I think about, fighting overseas, or who am I outside of the sport and all that. It was a major learning experience for me.
Okay, I believe you. You're a decider. I think I'm gonna go IP here. I'm getting so sick of it. Like, I don't want to hear you talk about your identity anymore. One question you can ask, is he this sleep blast? No way. No way. That column of sleep blasters is a lot more extroverted. I just don't think it is. He's not doing the blaster lessons.
When I signed up to get into the UFC, it was to be able to afford diapers and to make sure my family's good and make sure that my branch in my family tree is different than the roots that I'm from.
It kind of seems like reasons talk. It's not so much about, like, I just really felt this, not super connected to his emotions. It's like I have my reasons. I needed diapers.
And then along the way, I started wanting to be this guy for everybody else, and I've kind of gotten back to not really worrying about being something for everybody else and focusing on my own salvation, my own health, my own mental and spiritual well-being.
I kind of dropped that DE to go back to my DI.
Good, and his baby's been having a lot of complications, and absolutely signed this. I actually reached out to her recently, and I still wasn't working. He's a really great dude, man. He's a great teammate.
Yeah, I'm tapping out. Jon Jones, you beat me. I can't do the people talk anymore. This is on his Instagram. In the past few years, he started this care project in Albuquerque. So I think this is kind of like his DE. If this is inferior DE, that could be kind of like, now that he's a bit older, he's going after his demons. Someone like Erwin McManus, early on in his life, he was, let me go out and help the homeless and let me do all these projects for the other people. Jon Jones is like, I gotta own my identity first, and then later I will do stuff like the care project. That's kind of what it seems like. All right, let me go to this one. So I'm just seeing the DI. So let's say this is DI. For the animals, consume versus blast. Maybe 1 or 2 blaster lessons here, but I think this is consume over blast. In interviews, he's not like processing in the moment. It's not like the sleep energy never happened. He's a little bit processed, I think. I felt like I was seeing more logic talk. Like, okay, something you gotta ask yourself. Is this feelings in a savior state? I think this is DI in a savior state, but it's not smacking me in the face with feelings. Like, I love this, I hate this, feelings reports, anything like that. So I'm gonna try to go T over F. Proving gives facts grounded, not jumping or summarizing. Categories abstract. I think this is N over S. I mean, that's a little bit hard to catch. I think he was doing both. And especially if he's an IP, those are going to be in the middle. So he's going to be kind of going back and forth between those. I think comparing to someone like Casey Neistat, like Casey Neistat will take you along to a certain point, and then he'll do an analogy where he completely loses you. And then you also see he's organizing in the abstract. Is Jon Jones organizing in the abstract? I think so. I think he's gathering the patterns of people and he's really owning those for himself. And I'm going to go decider. I think there's no way around it. What if I don't go after NS? It could be one of these. OI versus OE, channel change we'll see wants control but doesn't. That's kind of the chaos monkey getting arrested stuff. And then has the OI. Story concludes, narrow, shoves away new. Yeah, it felt like his speech was like, yeah, Ariel, and then we went and did this. And then we did this, and then we did this. Yeah. It kind of felt like that. Like, just kind of sleepy and slow, but it was kind of measured, just didn't feel like chapters in the sensory, is what I would say. If this was NE, then this would be SI. Is the sensory personal? It doesn't really seem like it. It seems like the concepts are personal. The patterns are personal. And then if he's blast last, it would be this. But I don't know, he doesn't really seem that introvert. Well, he's quite mopey and sleepy and kind of a slow talker. But the other IP, what's his name, David Allen, who was doing all that sleep, he was like, yeah, I got my wallet organized. He doesn't really seem lead sleep. I think that's kind of where I'm at, but I don't really think it's NE or SI. So I think it's maybe a TINI or TISE. It was just so much people and identity that I think this is an IP, and it wasn't feelings in a savior state. So I think it might be TI, but I don't know, I could be far off. And then I think maybe double feminine or visual. This is an introvert. He can't talk. Yeah, so that might be crazy super far off. But that's kind of what I keep coming back to. He doesn't really seem lead sleep, though. So maybe he's TISE or TINE. So yeah, I'm super excited to watch the class and find out what the real answer is for his type. What did I get wrong and what did I get right? Typing Jon Jones here. He is an ISTP, TI, SE, consume, play, sleep, blast, last, audio. So what I got right was that he's an IP, he's a TI IP, he has SE, NI, he's blast, last, and not double masculine. My final guess was TI-NI just because I could see that he was doing analogies a lot, but some advice I got on that is that sometimes, especially with the IPs, they will kind of hide behind their third function to avoid going to their demon, in this case, FE. So I think I was seeing that in interviews, is that he was, when confronted with his feelings or something like that, sometimes he would go to an analogy. So I was seeing that in his speech quite a bit, and I think it kind of tripped me up. But what I really should have looked for was the way he tells a story, like in this video.
So next thing you know, I have like sweatpants on, I have an iPod and my Droid X, my wallet. I'm like, what is, like, where am I? What's going on? So I'm like, okay, it's time for me to take action. So I take my hands in my pockets, I throw my stuff on the floor, and I tell our driver, I'm like, dude, take care of my stuff. I threw it on the floor, and I just started running.
What they made really clear in the class was this is a really good example of play over sleep. And I didn't really take that into consideration too much, that this was such a skibby story to tell. First of all, it's like the classic skib, like, oh, I have all my stuff, and he's censor listing out all those things, and hold my stuff, and then I'm gonna go run after this guy. I did see he had no plan, but I should have put more weight onto this. Like, this is how he tells a story, and he's really just a skib, and censor, and all that. So in the future, I really want to look for how does someone tell a story. Is it an OE story, just channel changing, something like Robert Pattinson where they're all over the place, or is it a consume story where they bring you along with them? And also, is it a censor or intuitive story? So is he making an analogy out of the story, or is it really what happened? But I really like the way they talked about it in the class. If you gave 100 people a pen and a paper and asked them to listen to this Jon Jones story, would they be able to draw out exactly what happened? They would, because he's censor and consume story bringing you along. I did see that it was a consume story, but I really should have put more weight on that this is sensory over intuition.
So you just felt it necessary to take off at a high rate of speed?
I did not break the speeding limit at all, and I did not take off at a high speed.
What's the speed limit there on Central?
So I was a little bit confused with this cop video, what exactly I was supposed to be looking for, but after watching the class, it's so much more clear. Looking at it through the framework of, if Jon Jones is ST, then this is just them STing each other, which is so funny because the cop is like, I saw you speeding, and then Jon Jones is like, I was not speeding. They're literally just STing each other. Because Jon Jones is like, here are the facts, here are the details, here's what I know, and then the cop is doing the same thing back to him. Whether the cop is ST or not is debatable, but that's what cops do, is they look for the ST, right? So looking at it through that framework, this video makes so much more sense. All I was kind of getting from it was like, this guy seems like kind of a jerk, and more DI stuff. It is very DI because he's coming at it from the viewpoint of, here's my ST, here's my TI, and you need to move to my DI. You know, this is not DE. I think it's also kind of like, are reasons personal to you or not? So if this was someone who is TE, they might be trying to bargain more, as they put it in the class, and kind of, oh, well, what do you think about this? Can I get out of this ticket this way? Can I get out of it this way? Whereas Jon Jones is like, I have my TI reasons and that I will not move from, and you need to move to me. Also, if I were looking at this clip with the right lens and right mindset, then I could have seen that these are probably masculine saviors, probably masculine ST saviors. So that would have given me a big clue to his type.
I've had a lot of things go on throughout my life, a lot of good and a lot of bad, and I've never talked about any of it to anybody on a professional level. And it was good. I did a lot of crying, man, to be honest with you. Almost 30 days of crying.
Wow.
Yeah, crying and praying and talking about just life. And, man, I used to think psychiatrists and counselors were for the weak. And I realized that it's for everybody. I also realized that depression is for everybody. You know, being a guy who's an undefeated, multimillionaire, I think I'm a good-looking guy. Right? I thought that I could never be the type of person that was severely sad and depressed. And this summer, I truly was severely sad and depressed.
So with this clip, the problem I had was that I was getting so sick of decider talk. My identity and the people, and I'm the best, and he's not as good. I literally could not sit through this interview to listen to what he had to say. But if I did, then I would have seen that he was talking about this crying episode. And what you have to ask yourself is this feelings in a savior state? No, he's not going and crying every day. There's no crying routine. It's building up, and then it all rushes out in a 1-month rehab facility. And that's the FE coming out. His emotions are coming out. He's cool talking about it right now, but is that what he's doing on a daily basis? Is he crying and getting out the feelings extrovertedly on a daily basis? No. So yeah, I probably should have sat through this interview, but I kind of don't blame myself because I literally could not handle the decider stuff anymore. Also in this interview, it was pretty funny to see how this guy was freaking out about the unknown information. I was seeing that, but I didn't really want to get into what his type is. But I could just see that he was doing a little bit more like decidery stuff and also being more feminine with the DE, whereas he was more in observer land. So this ended up being his type in the end, this consume, play, sleep, blast, TISE. I was way over here. I did guess he was an ISTP, so at least I got that. I was like, I don't think this is any... But I was also like, I don't think he's so sleepy as this, and I really should have trusted that instinct a little bit more and then just trusted SE. I just was seeing that he was doing the analogies a lot, and I think when I've been doing these typings, I've been getting tripped up because I'm looking a lot for behaviors or I'm looking a lot for speech. And really, double observations, you need both. You need looks, you need behavior, you need speech, you need life patterns, you need all that stuff. So it's great to go after speech as your first thing, speech patterns, but you also do have to factor in behavior, and it's just about keeping that balance. I noticed that I'm having a little bit of trouble with the sexuals. I think I really want to next time try to lean into my NF a little bit more on that one and just kind of go with my gut, because I didn't really see anything that in his speech that was masculine sensory, and he's audio, so I was like, I think this is masculine DI, feminine DE, and I didn't think it was double masculine, but I think sometimes with the sensory, the definition is not so, it can be a little bit more vibey, and so is this person smashing? Is this person aggressive with the sensory and things like that? It might not always be in their speech patterns. So yeah, next time I'm going to try to NF it a little bit more, even though I hate doing that. Embrace your demons, right? But yeah, basically, I do think this guy is kind of a jerk. I wouldn't want to meet him. I wouldn't want to be around him. But I think that his fighting strategy is very interesting. He's doing a lot of consume and getting the patterns of these people. I also think that he's gotten into a lot of trouble over the years, but he's really tried to turn himself around and give back to the community with the FE now. We like to see that. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and I'm excited to type another person next.
Hey, are you still there? I'm here.